are back with another unscheduled episode of Space Cowboy Justice. We apologize for the break. We had a few things to figure out. Super happy to be in Jesse's new studio. Space Coast Podcast got some new digs. And I'm joined, of course, by Paul Daly, the handsomest man in bankruptcy.
Hello.
Special guests Desiree Stewart
Hello.
and Alex, the intern.
Hello.
This is our second intern episode.
Intern
Perfect.
cam.
That's our intern cam. You're going to be seeing a lot of that today. So today, I think the hashtag is definitely going to be time travel. By the way, before we go any further, spoiler alert, all right? You've got exactly 5 seconds from right now to stop listening if you've not seen Avengers Endgame. And I will be nice, and I will count that down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have been warned. So we're going to be talking about Avengers Endgame. We're going to be talking about the entire season of Star Trek Discovery, the newest one, Season 2. And we're going to be talking about season... I think Paul's not up on the Orville, so maybe I'll make a couple of brief comments to it.
We'll just ignore him during that part of the conversation.
Yeah, I'll just chew my toothpick.
It's difficult to do. So, Paul, do you want to bring us up to speed on what you've been doing professionally since our last show?
Bankruptcy.
Do one thing and do it well.
Do one thing and it becomes a little easier and more efficient. But yeah, we've been doing, it's been a little bit slower. The economy's a little better. Unemployment's lower. So we don't do as many, but we have been staying busy. When I get my weekends, most weekends are mine again. So Chapter 7s, Chapter 13s. I really suggest people talk to a bankruptcy attorney before the night before their house goes for sale.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Those referrals that come in and say, oh, by the way, this guy's house is for sale on Tuesday, and we'd gladly pay you Monday for a bankruptcy today.
So to put that in perspective, that was a real story. I did do that, and Paul did save their house in one day. So kudos. And that wasn't even an intended plug. That actually happened.
No, but you're not the only one. I have 4 in the last 2 months that have been emergencies. And my paralegal is ready to kill me, I'm sure. Amy, I love you.
But she is amazing.
Yes.
She is a Clydesdale of bankruptcy. And we've got special guest Desiree Stewart in the studio with us. Many of you may recognize her from our other podcast, the Paper Clinic Memo.
Yes.
Would you like to tell people a little bit about your background and why you're here today?
Specifically with Space Cowboy Justice, I am a closet Trekkie / anything sci-fi nerd. So.
Well, not anymore.
Oh, yeah, whatever. My minor was in philosophy of space and time, so I'm pretty sure that I might bore you guys with some of my theories, but we'll see.
So if I go back in time and kill my grandfather, does that prevent me from being born, or does that just create like a split?
Depends on who you're talking to and what timeline you're talking to them at.
Yes.
Oh.
Which timeline theorist are you?
I am the type of theorist that thinks that 3 alternate timelines were created in Avengers Endgame. At least 3 alternate timelines. I'm just segueing. That's the segue. That's all you
All
get.
right, so wait a minute. But you're saying Thanos, the one where he wins.
The one where he wins.
The one where he loses.
The one where he loses.
And the one where Captain America
does what he's supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, he didn't.
Right. So is there a timeline? There has to be a timeline where he did do what he's supposed to do, because obviously he wasn't an old man.
But he had the ability to time travel, so he could have done everything he was supposed to and then jumped again. They said he overshot. So he jumped again after he returned everything to where it was supposed to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So your theory is that for a time there were 2 coinciding at the same time, an old one and a young one.
The one that stayed with Agent Carter and hid in the house, and the one that went about being frozen, and then when he was old, no one would have noticed him because he was old and he had just been thawed.
And he was just some old guy living his life.
Yep, with Agent Carter.
I hate that theory, Paul, because that means that his story has a coda. It instead of having a coda, that's it. That story wraps up. Because I was always hoping he would sign a new contract.
I hope they all come back.
I don't know how you can bring back.
Black Widow's gone.
She was my favorite.
I don't understand why she couldn't, like, so anybody that sacrificed 4 of the stones can't come back?
That's what the theory was, I believe.
I'm trying as hard as I can not to ruin this. If I can be vague in such a way, because Jesse,
talk freely.
Jesse, our faithful producer, has not seen Endgame yet, and we came in here to have a discussion about
I'm the last one.
So we're trying to keep it vague.
1.2 billion worldwide, and Jesse didn't help.
No, not one bit. Not even $12, because I think that's what a movie is these days.
I will gladly join you if you guys want to do a second.
I don't know if I can watch that movie again, Jesse. It was emotionally it was amazing. It was everything. It's one of those movies. You know how, like, I've only seen Apollo 13 once. It's just one of those things. Like, it's one of those movies. It was perfect. It was just flawlessly executed. At the beginning and end, you knew what happened, and then like First Man, that was another.
They were grown men proudly crying in the audience.
Yeah. Oh, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was crazy.
Multiple times.
And you brought Desiree.
I did bring Desiree. Oh, I would like to point and I would like to personally thank Paul because I got to see the movie on his dime. Paul actually rented out the entire theater on behalf of the Children's Hunger Project, and every dollar that was donated that day just went right to the Children's Hunger Project.
That's
so
amazing.
It was popcorn, it was soda.
Thor made an appearance.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There was a.
It was not the Thor from the movie, though.
Well, yeah, he wasn't bad.
No, but I mean, Thor in the movie was bad.
Oh, he was actually in better shape than the Thor in the movie.
That's my point. Grown women cried. When they saw Thor, they cried.
So, and the thing is that it never improved. There was never this.
I was under the impression that they were going to, when he powered up, when his eyes glowed,
like his metabolism would have just.
Yeah, and then he would have turned into his Thor self. But no, he stayed fat beer gut Thor the entire movie.
Somebody said that was unrealistic because a demigod would just not get fat, just be able to drink and eat whatever they wanted without getting fat.
Beer is rough. I mean, you drink.
But I can't remember the guy's name, Blake, but remember in the comic books, he had a quadri of guys. One of them was Hemdall, one of them was the sword guy. There was an Asian guy, and then there was a fat guy in his group, his little cadre of best friends.
Which comic book are we talking about?
Thor.
So he did, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm envisioning him. He had the blonde handlebar mustache.
Yes. And
yeah.
So there in Asgard there were fat people.
So I don't know that. I mean, they're Asgardians. They're not actually like gods. Like we, and so that is one of the cool things. I feel like Thor is really underappreciated because I think in the comic books, like Stan Lee had a plan. And then, like, he kind of stopped writing things, like, in the early 70s and became more of a pitchman. Like, before the early 70s, he was writing, like, I don't know how Stan Lee had time to do anything. He was writing, like, storyboarding. The X-Men, The Amazing Spider-Man. I want to say he wasn't doing Captain America, but he was doing the Avengers. And then he had, like, an assortment of artists. He had Steve Ditko doing Spider-Man. He had Jack Kirby was doing everything. And he did some writing, too. Kirby was helping. I don't know where Stan Lee had the time to do all of this. But once he stopped writing, then Thor became like this being of Norse mythology rather than, like just a superior being that we interpret it as a god. So he's not really a god, right? Asgardians, they're just an older society. They have technology and all these great things. And
Also, not to universe hop, but can Superman get fat?
I don't think Superman can get fat in front of a yellow sun because it has to do with his metabolism.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. And so I think that ties in perfectly to Beer Gut Thor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's an advanced, super strong alien that we perceived and wrote into, our mythology.
As the god of lightning.
But I think if you're drinking a keg of beer a day, I don't care how fast your metabolism is, I think that you're going to get a beer gut.
Challenge accepted.
Like, so it's funny because Thor shows up and then literally like 90 minutes into the movie, they flash back to Thor. He powers up. He's still fat. And then I just hear this woman like 3 rows back, "This is a travesty." Like,
that might have been Colleen.
oh,
I was
is that true?
She was a little, oh my God, what did they do? Yeah, because that was like, that's just wrong.
Okay, well, so your turn to participate. Or
Yeah, I don't know. But when you were talking about beings, the Titans, Thanos was a Titan, and he was strong. I mean, he actually fought the Hulk.
Yeah.
So he's not a god. He's just a different being, and the Hulk kind of hid for a while after that beat down.
What'd you think of Professor Hulk?
I didn't like it.
Why?
I don't know.
Those were some of my favorite Peter David Hulk comic books. Smart Hulk.
Yeah, well, I just didn't feel it. I was like, he should be one or the other. Or...
We got that amazing.
agree.
We got that amazing scene where he was doing the Force like, "Err, err, err."
That was funny as hell. That was funny. Yeah, and he tried to smash some things.
Yeah. Nothing like a good Hulk smash.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where that leaves us. I mean, phase 1 was okay. Let's set the game board, right? So we set the game board. Phase 2, I feel like they introduced all the replacement players, and phase 3 we lost. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I hate to say this because there have been some good movies, but I had so much. I mean, that was 11 years of movies that came. That was the end of the story. It wasn't like to be continued. That's an end. I mean, obviously we can pick up from there, and there's other heroes in the universe. But I think for me, I watched 22 hours or 23 hours of superhero movies in the last 11 years, and I think as much as I love them, I think I'm a little burned out, and I think that I got everything that I was invested in.
I just don't want them as frequently, but I still want them 1 or 2 a year, not 3 or 4. I want to see the Spider-Man, maybe another Venom.
I really liked Venom.
Yeah, but I don't know. There was some. Have you ever seen the comparison between Aquaman and the Black Panther movie? How they matched the storylines and showed at particular points where they
Identical.
Yeah, it's a same exact story, different actors, and that's probably what is with these long story arcs of the Thanos, it wasn't mimicking anything else, and so if they're going to make the movies, I think they need to not just copy good guy, bad guy. Good guy fights, bad guy loses, come back, fights bad guy again, wins, end of story. Give us something a little more original.
Gonna add a little bit of adversity for your protagonist. Gonna have a little exposition for the dialogue.
Well, and that's like, it brought a lot of ethical questions too, because you do kind of identify with Thanos if you look at it philosophically, and you don't just have in his head that he's just a bad, maniacal guy. I mean, I've had like even my brother, he's like, I don't know. I think I'd be on Thanos' side.
Jesse, you're my witness. She identified with Thanos.
I did identify with that. Well, so I guess they really got to me with the sympathetic aspect of Thanos and the fact that, he came to this conclusion after heartache. And we saw that in the previous movies, and that's why he had come up with this maybe crazy plan, but it was unbiased and it was merciful in a way. And like that's what he was, trying for. And it kind of comes into like the utilitarian theory of like, is it better to sacrifice one for the many, or, half for the other half to be even more awesome and not have to, do without. And
the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Trek.
Well, so that's like a cross universe like comparison, like because that's exactly what they were bringing in.
Yeah, no, essentially that was a big choice. Intern Cam. Perfect.
Thanos killing everybody.
Tell us your thoughts, young man.
Well, I'm like not a big Marvel fan.
Okay, and you've heard from Alex. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. Continue. Did you see? How many of the movies would you say you saw leading up to Endgame?
I've seen the first Iron Man.
Okay, excellent.
Then I haven't seen any of the rest other than Spider-Man.
You can skip 2.
Yeah, only Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah. So,
wow.
I didn't see Infinity War, obviously.
Why did you go see Endgame?
Because all my friends are like super into it, and so we went on like the premiere, and I wanted to be like a part of like the hype around it. I guess I missed out on the Infinity War thing, so I didn't want to miss out again.
Do you not have Netflix?
It's just too much. Like I feel like I've missed so many movies at this point. It's like too late.
He doesn't have the backstory. He needs to get the list and go through it.
I'll make the list, and I'll make sure you get the correct order, because there's a lot of different versions of the order. You don't necessarily watch them in the order.
That's the confusing part.
And then part of the back to the Avengers. At the end, the big scene when they brought in the Black Panther and his people, and they brought in the Valkyries,
the Wakandans.
Yeah, and they brought in everybody. Where was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Where was Coulson?
I didn't see Coulson in that whole movie.
I know. I was like...
They're on vacation.
But there was... they brought in everybody, it looked like, right? There was all those portals and all those people coming. But where were the Inhumans, and where were the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Disney, if you're listening, and I think that you are, because your agents of evil are everywhere, and they're listening to every podcast that the word Disney gets mentioned in. So I'm just kidding. We love you, Disney. I just have a little bit of criticism for you. You should have had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you need to stop this nonsense of the feud with the Netflix shows. Whatever it is that's going on with Netflix, don't involve the Marvel fans in it. You can't just pretend like the Netflix shows didn't happen. Pick them up on Disney+. Please bring back our shows on Disney+.
Oh, yeah, those 4.
They were epic, and they, at least peripherally dealt with the consequences of things that were going on in the movies. We heard about the Hulk. We heard about Captain America. We heard about Thor. How many times did they talk about the guy with the hammer in the Netflix movie, in the Netflix shows?
Yeah.
We heard about the guy with the hammer, like, all the time.
Although, when they were going back in time, then they had Hydra in the elevator. Right?
Hail Hydra.
Exactly. I mean, because that was closely connected. But
that was a great scene.
That was.
Yeah. But, I mean, they didn't have the original actors, so that was a poo-poo on them.
What do you mean they didn't have the original actors?
Was that the original actors?
They were all the original actors.
In the elevator?
I literally was expecting him to say, before we begin, does anyone want to get out? Because it was every single one of those.
Awesome.
How many times did I make you watch?
Catch that.
How many times did I make you watch that elevator scene from Captain America 2?
Oh,
where
gosh. That's why I blocked it out of my memory.
He gets on the elevator. Oh, we're panning out. To be continued after this brief commercial break from your sponsors.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard!
Jesse, have you ever wondered what is the best way to interview applicants for your open position so you have the best chance of hiring a keeper?
All the time.
Well, I talk to managers every day, Jesse, that use their gut instinct to make a hire. Sometimes that works out, but more times than not, it can lead to a bad hire. Replacing a poor hire can be expensive and hurt morale. One of our most popular service offerings at HR Office Savers is teaching employers how to be better interviewers. Improved interviewing techniques lead to better hiring, which leads to better employee retention, which leads to less turnover and more profit. Contact me today to find out how you can learn to be a better interviewer. I can be reached online at www.hrofficesavers.com or by phone 928-308-4506. Again, that's 928-308-4506. 928-308-4506.
Are you new to a leadership position? Are you finding it hard to deal with certain personalities in the workplace? Maybe you're trying to reshape your organizational culture to increase your retention, your readiness, as well as your performance of your individuals on your team. Hi, I'm Stephon Williams with Highbull Leadership and Development Training. I welcome you to contact me to kind of explore some things that we can do to help you with your people needs. We're in the business of human capital performance on the professional side as well as the personal side. If you're looking for a motivational speaker to open up your convention, contact StephonWilliams.com. If you're looking for someone that's going to help you redefine your own personal leadership style, contact StephonWilliams.com. If you're just looking to take your team to the next level, contact StephonWilliams.com, and that is STEPHON Williams.com, Highbull Leadership Development Training. We look forward to seeing, hearing, and working with you.
Yes, that's right. We're live, Paul. Bring us back in.
All right, so we're back, and we're about to talk about some elbows. Too many elbows? Is that what you're saying?
There's no such thing as too many elbows where Captain America is concerned. Yeah, we were talking about the elevator scene, the anticlimactic elevator scene that was just... And you know, that really is the formula, I think, that Marvel nailed that DC has failed to capitalize on. It's that they don't take themselves too seriously. And is that a rocket launching?
Train.
Oh, that's awesome. Next time I ask if that's a rocket launching, you say yes.
So, yeah, they don't take themselves too seriously, but I don't know, Desiree, is that America's ass or what?
I have America's ass right here.
Oh. Hey-o. Wait, is that the radio? Hi-yo. There we go.
Well, so I was... All right, I'm very sorry, Marvel. But Captain America was never my thing. Like, I really liked Iron Man. Like, he was my man.
You like a geek?
Yeah, a rich geek? Come on.
A rich, cocky geek. So every woman claims that Iron Man's their favorite, but they all want to be married to Captain America.
Oh, no, I would be Pepper.
Potts? Pepper
Yeah.
Potts.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds right. I was raised by a redhead. It makes sense.
Or Thanos.
So
no, Thanos wouldn't be able to
Thor's
put up
out
with
in
me.
the cold here. Thor's out in the cold.
I know. Sorry, Thor.
Oh, no, listen, he's got his own group of lady fans.
And
Like, he needs no extra help.
Don't forget Hawkeye. There's some... come on now. He was in the Bourne.
Have you... Oh, I was just about to ask him if he'd seen that SNL sketch with Hawkeye, but he doesn't know what night of the week SNL is on.
See, I like Iron Man because I need a man who doesn't have a heart.
Um,
That's why I married an attorney.
Hi-yo! Hey, producer, I have a question for you. How does SNL feel about portions of clips being played? Do they feel like it is to their benefit because it improves their visibility? Or is Facebook going to immediately remove us from broadcast if we play a little bit of a clip from SNL?
I wouldn't know until we cross that bridge.
Okay. Well, for all of you fan out there, if you get a chance, type in SNL Hawkeye, and it's an entire sketch on how Hawkeye is basically the most useless Avenger. Nice guy, great guy, super leader, great, a lot of talking points. Really like that he's a family man, but as far as effectiveness, Black Widow at least has that thing where she, jumps on the neck and then throws people by the necks. Hawkeye's just kind of like, don't worry, I got this. I missed. I got it this time. Oh, there we go.
You're so cute.
There was a college humor video about like Batman and the Justice League, and Batman's like fighting the Joker, and the Superman just shows up with him. Like, is this the guy you're looking for? Yes. So what are your superpowers? I'm really rich. Okay, well, I'm just gonna get rid of this guy. You can't do that. So Paul, you want to talk about something else? We talked about the elevator, throwing bows. We talked about the Lady Fan Club. What else?
What about that Discovery season?
Okay.
Wait, Ty.
Oh, okay. Desiree wants. It's very important that we point out that
Iron Man must continue.
Ty Simpkins, who you'll remember, except Desiree didn't, so I had to explain it to her like 3 times and then show her the movie again. But Ty Simpkins was a little kid who helped Iron Man in Iron Man 3 when he, they blew up his house. He crash landed in his suit. His suit ran out of power, and he was hiding in that kid's barn. And so Ty Simpkins was the mysterious emo kid at the reception.
Okay.
The heart send-off.
I was going to say reception because Jesse hasn't seen the movie.
Oh.
I said vague.
Okay.
Jesse asked us not to be vague.
He doesn't know who died.
Yeah.
That's true.
And in the last one, half the universe died.
That's true.
Exactly.
It was a big funeral.
Yeah.
Depends on what timeline we're on.
So it's Ty Simpkins, and I feel like that was Marvel's way of telling us, yes, you can have more Iron Man movies, but no, you cannot have
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Which annoys me on a variety of different levels.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how long can you play the same? You know what I mean? Like
Same with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine.
Yeah, I know.
There's no other Robert Downey Jr., though.
I was really expecting to see Hugh Jackman in this movie. Is that weird?
Yeah. Well, in the comics, he was an Avenger.
I know. Oh, that would have been great, though. Even just a cameo, like that cameo he did in First Class. Remember the X-Men First Class where they're like recruiting the new class, the very first class of X-Men, and they run into him in the bar, and I'm Charles Xavier, and I'm Eric Luncher. Go fuck yourselves.
Yep.
All right. I just wanted to say how excited I am about the opportunity to possibly get some more Iron Man in.
There's a crack in the door. It's not open, but there's a crack.
There's a crack in the door. And we can travel through time. So time travel, as far as I can tell, means you can do anything, including kill your own grandfather. Intern Cam. What happened to a moment's notice? You're like, kill your own grandfather. Perfect.
Speaking about time travel, back to Discovery.
Star Trek Discovery. So, the big news in Discovery was we got Christopher Pike. I don't know where they found this guy that looks just exactly like the original Christopher Pike, but it's not even like I had to pick or doctor the comparison. Intern cam. Yeah, that was much better. So it's not even like I had to like cherry pick the pictures. You can basically find any picture of that. What's his name? Hansel?
Dude, I had to binge watch it. I don't know their names.
Enos? Ansel something or other. And pull up a picture of Christopher Pike. It's just like the same guy. It's just like he stepped out of time. So that was super helpful. We got a new Enterprise. We got a whole episode of the Enterprise kicking ass. We got an explanation for why Discovery's uniforms are so spandexy. Apparently, I think they're doing a good job of tying it into the Prime timeline.
Yeah, they're trying to bridge it.
They're doing, I dare say, they're doing a much better job of bridging Discovery into the Prime timeline than they did the movies.
All right, but at the end, they were supposed to erase Discovery from the Federation.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
seems like
that was a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah. That's why you never heard of Discovery before, because at the end they said it didn't exist and Section 31 was the one in charge.
Yeah, okay. So that was a weak point.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the effort. There was an effort made. Clearly, they're listening to us all complaining.
How does this fit into the Prime timeline?
Yeah, remember when you went to Orlando and they had all the timeline? Did you ever go through that museum thing? It had all the little bridges.
Is it still there?
I don't think so. I don't know.
But you know there was a Star Trek museum in Orlando?
No.
It was next to Titanic, The Experience, which I also wanted to go to.
There was a CSI experience or something.
Yeah. There was one of those too. Did you ever eat dinner on the Titanic over there?
Nope.
You could apparently, you could eat dinner on the Titanic, and halfway through dinner, the ship would sink. And yeah, no, I'm serious. That was a real thing.
That sounded cool.
Morbid.
If you look on the Google reviews, you'd hear people complaining, wasn't expecting to have to chase my dinner, because it wasn't real bad, but I guess they were doing remember Body Wars or Star Tours, where they put you in the room on springs. Obviously, it wasn't that bad. It was more just a gradual listing, but they would put these tablecloths on the tables that people were eating at, and then they'd tip the room so the plates would start to.
I hope they use Corel. All right, so what did?
So talk to me. What'd you think? I made you binge watch it.
I know.
just for this episode.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I liked the first season, and this season kept me entertained. I wasn't hating you as I was watching 3 hours a night. But
you were thanking me.
No, and I think the story at the end. I mean, towards the final episodes when they figured out what was going on, that was interesting. The first ones were a little one episodes, where it was and then they tied all the episodes together when she started traveling back in time, and you found out that she was the one that was actually traveling, and her mother was still around. It was a really good storyline. Mm-hmm. It was surprising. It wasn't out of a can that I was just complaining about the Marvel movies being a canned storyline.
I agree.
That was original, and I found it very entertaining.
But
I really didn't like the fact that the Time Stone told him what was going to happen, and then if they follow the timeline, it's going to happen.
Well, why don't you like that?
I was hoping he would be saved, that we'd have an alternate version.
Pike always has to die. Even in the movies, Pike died. Pike always has to die.
Otherwise, you don't get a Kirk.
Otherwise, you don't get a Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need Kirk.
We do need Kirk.
Blake, the whole season, you always complain that Spock had a beard.
Yeah, he had a stupid millennial beard.
That's what I heard every episode. Stupid millennials making Spock have a beard. Spock would never have a beard.
Whoa. And by the way, millennials, especially 321 millennials, one of my favorite networking groups, I certainly did not call millennials stupid. I said the beard was stupid, and it just happens to be a millennial beard.
He was very unhappy about Spock having a beard.
It was ridiculous. He had a neck beard.
I know. I looked at you when he showed up, shaved, and I think you're just
all was right in the universe.
Yeah, you had like this weird smile. It was very scary.
We're never going to talk about Discovery, and Spock promises to shave from then on.
Yeah, but he was going through a mental, an event in his life. He was some trauma. He just wasn't getting around to shaving. Do you want to shave your legs every day?
No. You
right.
used to have night terrors. You understand that.
Why are we bringing my deep-rooted psychological issues into this show? Intern cam. Oh, that was pretty good. Who's in charge of the intern? How'd you do that?
It's a secret.
Jesse working some producer magic over there. So anyway, about my night terrors, what?
So Spock, he shaved before and he shaved after. He just didn't shave while he was going through it.
And for you listeners just checking in, we are talking about his face.
Not legs or other parts.
So does the intern watch Star Trek?
I don't know anything about Star Trek.
He's a sports guy. That's okay. Do you like hockey?
I do.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So Paul likes hockey. He's a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
Oh,
I
something
got
nice.
my hockey jersey.
Yeah. I don't feel bad for the Penguins, though, for getting swept, because I'm a Leafs fan.
Can you turn his mic off? A Leafs fan?
Yeah, I'm from Canada.
No, you're not. What part of Canada are you from?
Toronto. Yeah.
So my dad's from Toronto.
Oh,
my
yeah,
uncle lives in Richmond Hill.
I'm from Newmarket, which is like my cousins lived in Richmond Hill.
Man, I used to spend summers up there. Not the whole summer, but like I'd spend a couple weeks here and there. I actually lived in Calgary for like 3 months back in 2013. Beautiful. There's too many people in Toronto now.
Yeah.
By the way, it's getting a little Florida-ish.
Definitely.
Okay, so you're in Florida. You're a Toronto fan. A friend of mine.
Fish out of water.
Well, my friend of mine over in Tampa is a Leafs fan from Toronto. And he sent me a school photo. It was a bleachers in the gym, okay? And there was the class, and the first picture is all of the class and all of the rows. There's like 8 rows, 8 kids. It's like a whole class of kids. And it says Mrs. Such and Such's, 3rd grade class. The second photo shows the entire bleachers, and they're all Canadiens fans, and there's one Toronto fan in the bottom left corner sitting by himself on the bleachers.
Oh my god!
And he's like, "This is my life in Florida."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, how many Leafs fans can you find in Florida? I don't know, but how full is Tampa Stadium with Montreal Canadiens fans every Christmas when the Canadiens come?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're too young to remember this in person anyway. I don't know if you heard about it, but when the Maple Leafs made it to the Stanley Cup Finals back in the early 2000s, I want to say 01, 02 was when. I don't think they won, but they made it to the finals. Yeah. And that was the craziest I had ever seen Canadians act. Like a car, like I was staying at a, I want to say I was in like either the Embassy Suites or like a Marriott in downtown Toronto. And I was because I was going to the University of Michigan at the time. And we had jumped up over the border to visit my Uncle Bob. And my mom and I had like gone for like a late evening walk. And somebody pulled the fire alarm to the hotel, and so everybody like poured into the streets. And then at that exact moment, the Maple Leafs won the game. And like Maple Leafs fans in jerseys overturned a car. Yeah, like I had never seen Canadians behave like that before.
They go crazy because it's like that's pretty much what they like live for. It's hockey. Like they have like the Raptors and the Blue Jays too. Who,
I like the Raptors.
Yeah,
I like Drake too.
But, like, when it's just, like, completely different.
Even though he'll always be the little kid from Degrassi. I can't take him seriously because of Degrassi.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was our Canada tangent. That's good. I'm glad we had a Canada tangent. You're going to go far, kid. You got a future with Stuart Law. Or Daily Law. I don't know. He's probably looking for an intern. He's cheap. He likes interns. I'm just kidding.
I've been asked about interns before, and it's like, maybe a law school intern, but it's like there's so much personal and financial information in my cases that I've been asked before, and I've just said, no, I don't feel comfortable with everybody's socials, everybody's
No, oh yeah,
paychecks,
no, I don't.
tax returns.
I don't disagree for bankruptcy. I absolutely don't disagree. For
It'd
some
be-
of my stuff, if I redact the files,
Well, yeah, you know, if you're dealing with a business, it's not the same thing. But yeah, I would love to have an intern. Definitely have some pleadings that they could, you know, at least give me the captioning on and.
absolutely. All right, so back to Star Trek. That was just for you. That was a respite for you. Back to that thing the intern knows nothing about. Intern Cam. Perfect. All right, so we got a whole season of Christopher Pike running the show. I kind of think that Sonequa Martin Green is cranking up the waterworks too much. Wonderful actress. I just think maybe just dial it back a little bit.
And she was raised on Vulcan. She was all Vulcan-y on the first season.
know.
Why is she so emotional in the second season?
I know. Now, I don't want to blame the actress because I still adore her from Walking Dead. One of my favorite characters. And the way she went out just... Are you a Walking Dead guy? I can't remember.
Yes.
I know you. Well, I know you're a celebrity guy, so you got a lot of pictures with the actors and the actresses. I'm going to take you to his office the next time.
Okay.
Not to show you any social security numbers or anything. He's got a pretty impressive office. Mine pales in comparison to it. If that's okay with you.
Yeah. I've got Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner's autograph on the same document.
Well, he's Canadian, right? William Shatner.
Yeah, William Shatner.
I knew it. See, I liked the waterworks and the emotion from...
Sonequa Martin Green.
Yes, that name. Well, and, like, I think it followed the evolution of the story, because at first, like, we spent the whole first season, and they had... Well, I mean, I guess the whole 2 seasons, this tumultuous relationship with Spock, in which, you know, Amanda really only, you know, took her in, Michael, to rub off the human on Spock. So, like, because it needed to be the best of both worlds.
But really, I think more Vulcan rubbed off. I think more Spock rubbed off on Michael than Michael rubbed off on Spock.
Well, I think that's what the first season was all about, and I think the second season was Michael returning back to her humanhood. And Spock kind of embracing that as well, and then them having this bonding moment at the end.
Is the humanhood in the Bronx?
Shut up.
I'm just curious.
Well, what else do you call it?
Humanity.
Whatever. I like humanhood better.
A donation has been made in your name to the humanhood.
Hey, which is, well, that gets to the Orville, the desolate Earth.
All right. Well, we are going to take a little break for this message from your sponsors, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
With our emotions.
So emotional.
Steven,
Why, yes, Christopher.
what are you doing?
I am scribing down some ideas for the next podcast of the Black Dog Confessional.
Oh, Mitzi had spoke of that. She said it is rather wonderful.
Well, you know, we tried to succeed, Christopher. We tried to succeed. We're talking about all the proper etiquette techniques that we can this week.
Do you think everyone is listening?
I definitely believe so, Christopher.
Well, if they're not, they better get on the game!
Hey there, this is Jesse Hull, and I want to remind you to tune into Business Elite Brevard Edition. And what we do on Business Elite Brevard Edition is bring to you some of the biggest movers and shakers on the Space Coast. These could be industry leaders, tech innovators, and social influencers. And what we do is kind of bring them on, ask them some of the most relevant questions that you may not know about. And these are people who may not be in the news, but they are making moves behind the scenes. Again, tune in. Business Elite Brevard Edition.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com.
Space Coast Podcast.
Talk hard!
I have a question. I'd like to start this segment off with a question to the handsome producer, most talented producer in podcasting. What's the name of the band that's playing this song right now? Oh, research that later. I love it.
It's royalty-free music.
Well, it's that doesn't mean it doesn't have an artist. It just means they're cool enough to not charge for it. This is amazing. Why are you turning it down?
So I had a question. If you don't mind, we were talking about Discovery when we left, and so talking about like all these time traveling things. How did you like the way that Discovery depicted time travel? Like it was like kind of. It looks like this littering of lights that are hitting.
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
spacesuit, and then it's just a blinding light, and then it just kind of sucks you and pops you back out.
I don't know, but if I'm like 85 years old and pooping myself, if they need a volunteer to send somebody into a black hole, I'll sign up for that. And that won't affect my life insurance policy. You'll still get to collect.
I already volunteered you for it.
Oh, that's wonderful. So if it turns out time travel works, I'll be able to tell you. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. No old poopy pants me explaining time dilation. Okay, maybe it didn't work.
Well, so let's compare that to how Endgame depicted time travel, kind of like of these like little loops and little slides.
How did that work? Tony Stark figured out that it was like some function of just an enormous amount of power, and then taking that power and focusing it into like a particular shape, right? It was like remember he was doing the quantum model for what the wave would have to look like that you'd have to create to.
Yeah, I ran to the restroom during that part.
You have the
Science.
Got to Pee app. Well, I mean, so now we're gonna get really philosophical, but like, I don't know. I'm just saying, what do you think time travel would look like? Who do you think?
I think it would look like a 1981 DeLorean.
Yeah, I don't know what it would look like, but you bring up a point that in the Discovery, they were on a linear line. They weren't worried about branches. They weren't worried about. They believed that if you did something, it would affect this particular timeline. In the Avengers, the Doctor Strange's predecessor said that it would alter her timeline and she would move forward without the stone. So they were dealing with branches and continuing realities, the infinite realities theory, whereas Discovery was focusing on the singular and anything you did in the past affected. So in Avengers, you could kill your grandfather and it wouldn't affect the timeline that you believed in and lived in and are from. But in Discovery, if you did something, it would affect your own. You could make yourself disappear. So I think they were using the different versions. That's my thought right now. I just thought of that. So discussion. Anybody disagree?
Well, I mean, I guess my theory and after hours of study in this, I've concluded that if time travel is possible, then there's an infinite amount of timelines. So, like,
you're more of the Avengers.
I'm scratching my nose. There's the timeline where I'm not scratching my nose, and that's the only difference in the entire universe is that I scratched my nose and I didn't. So, it's like
I can think of at least 22 different universes where I don't exist at all, based on the way things happened in a split second.
Exactly.
He stopped in time. He didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then it leads me to this existential crisis that if there's just an infinite amount of timelines in which I don't even exist, then maybe I should just go out partying and I should stop caring about money because in another timeline I'm going to be like handsomely wealthy.
Yeah, but we don't get any of that money. Remember that?
Nah, that's
yeah,
true.
that's the only
But
issue.
in that timeline, I'm a mad success, so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing here.
So that's always been my goal, is to like figure out how to jump into that other universe and then like murder that version of myself that has all the money and then just continue to live his life. And they couldn't really charge me with murder because genetically I'd be identical.
It's like that show, the other show, the cartoon one you watch.
Oh, Rick and Morty. Do you watch Rick and
Yeah,
Morty?
I
Oh,
do.
thank goodness. Paul, do you watch Rick and Morty?
That's a negative.
Or like even the Spider-Man.
You will like it.
If you go back to the cartoons.
This is so. Rick and Morty was one of those things that I got peer pressured. I'm whispering because I don't want to admit to this, but Dustin Riddell. I think you met my buddy Dustin, but he peer pressured the crap out of me, and I like watched episode after episode after episode, and I think I was kind of like watching it with an eye with the mindset of this is dumb. Oh God, this is so terrible. And I also think I was kind of spoiled by Family Guy because man, those first 5 years of Family Guy, it was like The Simpsons. That first 5 years of The Simpsons was like pee yourself funny, and then it was the same thing with Family Guy, and then Rick and Morty. But make yourself do it. Get through every episode. They're like 20 minutes apiece, and you don't have to watch them 3 hours at a time, and we don't have to discuss it until you get there. But yeah, I'll see if I can actually download them onto something for you.
You know, I never watched Breaking Bad until it was over.
Yeah.
And I got peer pressured into watching it, and I liked it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just such a dark show that I have to like be prepared, and
I haven't seen Better Call Saul yet, but
It gives Blake nightmares.
well, so Better Call Saul is just the Blake Stewart story. Like all the way down to like the billboard. Like I had 6 billboards in Brevard County thanks to CeeLo and the Small Business Expo. And I hooked him. We did a favor trade. I hooked him up with some contract work, and he was gracious enough to give me a booth at his Small Business Expo, which is excellent. And I think another one's coming up soon. But I don't know how he did it, but he put, those 6 electronic billboards they have, like, yeah. I had like 6 of them around the county, and so you just...
Are they still there?
No.
Okay.
I had them up, they were up for like 2 or 3 months, and so you saw Stuart Law. And
it's all about the branding.
Yeah, he did a good job. So thanks, CeeLo. And actually, one of his other partners, we don't even have to plug. She's not giving us any money. I just like her restaurant, the Red Ginger. And they're doing those hot pots. Have you seen the ads for the hot pots?
I don't know if I've seen the ads. But
Oh, I'm super stoked to check that out. Because she's doing like Chinese food, like real Chinese food, not like New York style. Gourmet. Yeah, so I'm interested to check that out. Anyway, plugs over. Free plugs over.
So back to the infinite.
Oh, the multiverse?
Yeah, infinite timelines in the multiverse. Well, because I really liked Spider-Man, the cartoons in which like the Spider-Mans of different timelines would pop in, and then it leads into Flash too. So
oh yeah.
I imagine there's like a Congress of Desirees lording over something.
Like there's
it's called heaven.
Yeah, the Congress of Desirees is like lording over the constabulary of Blakes. Like just somewhere there's a group of Desirees that are doing everything they can to keep a group of Blakes from like destroying the universe.
And it kind of looks like a zombies in a horse pen. They're just wandering around.
Drive fast, muscle car.
But so we talked about Family Guy, and that kind of leads into the Orville.
Paul hasn't seen the Orville. Not this new season.
Tell me.
That show was so good that I went on their Twitter and congratulated them.
Well, all right, I saw the.
You got a Twitter?
We have a Twitter account.
Oh, we do.
Or maybe I went on their Facebook or something.
Sorry, Paul.
That's okay. I saw the one where the security girl left.
Okay.
Is that this season?
That was this season.
Okay. I saw that one.
There's only 14 episodes of I almost said a treason. Intern Cam. Perfect.
He's so good at that.
Doing good, man.
There's only 14 episodes a season. Now that they're all out, treat it like the next generation. Go back and treat it like the next generation. And I would argue they're getting their crap. It's only taken them one season to get their crap together. It's a serious. I would argue it's a serious show now. Before it was like Family Guy in space, and I think they kind of figured out that we liked it enough to give him another shot, and now he's just kind of doing people in space.
But the emergency medical hologram was her father.
Counselor Troy is the teacher of the ship. She's the teacher
she's
for
there
the
now?
kids. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I have to go watch some more episodes.
Mm-hmm. And I mean they're all show. Tuvok was in it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
2 weeks ago.
No, wasn't he in it before? There was another guy from Star Trek that was in one of them.
Yeah. Well, it was the emergency medical hologram. Tuvok's been in it. Counselor Troy was in it. William Frakes is directing like half of them. And I mean, he teamed up with. So here's the deal. He teamed up with Patrick Stewart for like all. Are you vaping in my show? I'm just kidding. It's your studio. Vape away, sir. Vape away. This is a vape safe zone. This is a safe place for you, Jesse.
All the podcast producers.
Why aren't you
doing
sharing?
it.
Why aren't you sharing? I have no vices left. I'm gonna vape on my show. So is this a new one? Every time I see you, you have some new high-tech device. That's pretty cool. But I don't think he's. So remember Patrick Stewart was in American Dad?
No.
I saw
that episode.
Nobody. Well, it was like every episode. He became a regular cast member after season 2, and he played what's his face's boss. He was literally just the guy. He was Stan's boss at the CIA, the bald guy,
Mr. Slate.
Yeah. And but I think that because we've got a new Picard show coming out, I think they're not going to let him do the Orville. They're going to be like, Patrick, listen, we can't. We got a lawsuit going on. Just.
Do they really?
I think.
I hope not.
I think it was like kind of like floated around and threatened, and I think they realized the Orville's kind of in their best interests.
Yeah.
It's giving a place to. It's giving a home to. If it were up to me, like I'm such a Star Trek guy, I would just continue to watch like old people in space, like whatever. I don't care. Just put them on a show. I'll watch them. And I think that and McFarlane is such a huge Star Trek fan. He does anything he can for those people, and that's a friend to Star Trek. That's not somebody that you punish. It's very obvious that he's paying homage. He's saying, "Look at this great thing. Let me do my version." So I think they're kind of leaving him alone.
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
How does this work?
So,
Just pull?
Yeah.
I love all the Bordises. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love when he gets addicted to cigarettes. Speaking of smoking.
Wasn't he the one who got addicted to sex too?
Oh, and he infected the whole ship with his porn.
With his pornograph. Yeah. So they have a holodeck like they did in Star Trek. Like there's like a little room you can go into and just like it's like
Video games.
Video games, but it's so advanced that you just interact with the world. And he put like a porno program in there and then got a virus that infected the rest of the ship.
I like how they deal with divorce.
Yeah.
They just
stab him in the chest.
Captain, you cannot arrest him. It is Mocklin custom that you murder the person you're divorcing.
The morning fan. Sorry.
No, you're good.
There's so many things I love about the Mocklin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does the intern watch?
I mean, I watch.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Do you watch ESPN? I have so many friends that watch ESPN like 6 hours a day.
No, I actually don't. I mean, ever since I went off to college, I don't watch TV at all.
Yeah, TV's almost like TV's changed so much already. Like people, I don't know if people are watching network television anymore. And I noticed that like nobody really has like I looked up what the ratings of the Orville were because I was concerned it was going to get canceled, and they're like deplorable. If you had these ratings in like the mid '90s, like you would never be allowed to work in TV again. But he got renewed, so I think that they're taking into account like the streaming.
Yeah.
Which, if they had done that in the early 2000s, we probably wouldn't have lost Enterprise because people were already. That's why we lost Enterprise, because the ratings were deplorable, and they hadn't figured out to include the streaming and then, of course,
DVR.
Yeah.
But you know how I go to events and I meet celebrities and such, and I've had some discussions with some of the older celebrities that are into, SAG and the union and members, and they 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking about ratings, and they were saying that it's DVR plus 2. So they give them the ratings from Nielsen or whatever who actually watched it live, but then they add in anybody that DVR'd it and watched it within 2 weeks, and then they update the numbers. And so now, 5 years later, they know that you're probably, like you said, including what's the streaming, and so they really don't know the final numbers until. So they probably look at social media and everything else to come up with how successful a show is. And then, like you said, you have so many markets and competition.
And then there's the big elephant in the room, right? There's the jailbroken Fire Stick crew. How many people in here have a jailbroken Fire Stick? Show of hands. Desiree? All right, so that's...
count for me.
What do you mean? There's 5 people in this room and 3 of us... I mean, that's 60% of us have,
But that the other markets. So like Amazon now has original shows, and I can name 3 that I really liked. And
did you like Hannah?
Yes,
I loved it.
I watched all of that one. That one I watched the first one, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I went on and on and on.
I watched it in 2 days.
You got me beat.
I have a binge watch problem.
But the
Yes,
actor.
you do.
The actor from Hannah is
RoboCop.
the guy from RoboCop, but he's also the guy from Altered Carbon.
Oh.
And then he's in that The Killing.
I haven't seen that yet.
That was good.
The Killing.
I think it's called The Killing, but he's a cop investigating a small town murder.
Oh, I'll check. Is that a Netflix show or is that an Amazon show?
I think it was Netflix.
Okay.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, his name is Kellen. Is it Kellen?
Sony Crackle had a good movie.
Oh, that one that was like The Office with zombies.
I loved it. I hope they produce more funny things like that.
So the guy that played the crazy boss in that was the guy that played Shazam. He was Ed, I think. Was that the name of the show? My parents used to watch it. I think that's why I didn't watch Shazam. Like, I can't watch actors my parents identify with.
They're
It's
friends
very
with
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, yeah. Can we not listen to him now too?
Well, they don't know who Vanilla Ice is. They just know Rob Van Winkle.
Which is even worse.
My dad. So he's from my hometown, like Wellington, South Florida, and we like accidentally met him at a car show in like 2005. So he didn't even have his like Vanilla Ice project on the DIY network. He was just like kind of retired, living off the money. And he's got this massive Cadillac collection. My dad is like this crazy Cadillac fan. So we're like walking around this like impromptu car show, and we're like, you got your Mustang, Treehouse Club, and then you got all the Camaro and the Chevy guys hanging out, and the Mopar guys are polishing. Yeah, that engine block's not the right color orange. You're going to lose points at the show for that. And then, like, there were these Cadillacs that were, like, lowered. They were tastefully modified, like, early 60s Cadillacs. And my dad sees this Cadillac and just loses his mind. And I see the owner, like, stop what he's doing because he probably thinks, oh, this old guy's going to start putting hands on my car. So he comes over to investigate. And I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, man, he looks so familiar to me. But we ended up talking to him. Super cool guy. Like, took us for a ride in the car. And we ended up, I want to say, like, my dad got his phone number or something like that. And we ended up linking up with him at another car show. And that was Oh, this had to be 2009, 2010, because that was when the new 5.0 engine was still a secret, and we didn't know Ford was coming out with it. And we had this weird 4.6 engine. And so I see this guy, the Cadillac owner, he's like 3 cars over talking to this guy about a Mustang, and he's like, oh, yeah, did you hear the 5.0's coming back? You know, like cruising down A1A, my 5.0. And I was like, oh. And in that moment, I was like, Dad, that's Vanilla Ice. He's like, who's Vanilla Ice?
Oh, my God.
Who's Vanilla Ice? Oh, Dad, come on. Like, you know who Vanilla Ice is. No, I really don't. So anyway, I go back off to law school. I was still in law school. So I go back to Miami, whatever hole it was I was living in down there. And my dad, you know, I talked to my dad from time to time. He's like, oh, yeah, I went to another car show with Rob. Who's Rob? You know, the Cadillac guy. So I'm like, oh, Dad, I'm telling you, that's Vanilla Ice. I don't know who that is, son. So finally, I talked to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, Rob gave us 2 tickets to one of his shows. He gave my mom and my dad backstage passes to one of his shows at Clematis by Night, which is like West Palm's like big. Mm-hmm. And this was my dad's response. I call him after, and I'm like, Dad, what'd you think? He's like, yeah, you know, it's not really my kind of music, but I can tell he's a wonderful entertainer. and that's just, and to this day, like, if we see him out, he'll be like, John.
Oh my God! Wait,
yeah.
So they know each? Like they're like?
Yeah, no, they're on a first name basis with Vanilla Ice. Yeah,
and he doesn't even know who he is.
No, not at all. You know, I'm up there like, go Ninjas, go!
Yeah, and Rob likes it the way him and your dad have it. You know?
Yeah. Oh, he does. Oh, for sure. I think that's why he appreciates him so much.
Oh my God.
He's just a wonderful entertainer.
Yeah, wonderful entertainer. Outback. The car show was at an Outback Steakhouse. I'll never forget it. On Southern Boulevard.
Ice, baby.
That's so funny.
Anyway.
Give us the first line. Come on. I know you can do it. Do it.
You have to start me off.
Dun, 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 dun. Ice, baby.
Stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something. Sorry. I'll get carried away, guys. Sorry.
So, intern guy, are you gonna play hockey?
Oh no! I mean, I played hockey when I lived in Canada, but I haven't even skated like since then.
Play on his team.
Do you have a team?
He's got a team.
He
sponsors the team.
Yeah, this shirt I'm actually wearing is our team.
Daily Law Hockey, the Just Ice
Wow,
Warriors.
that's clever.
Yes,
where do you guys play? Like
right up in Rockledge.
Okay,
right
that's the
Space Coast Iceplex.
Yeah.
We are starting our. You just missed the intro skate thing, the evaluation skate, but there'll be another one in like 2 or 3 months, so you could do stick in pucks or do some skating, and then if you're going to be here in the fall, you could get into the evaluation skate. Probably going to be in August, and then the new season starts in September. And if you're just getting back to it, they have a league on Sunday for just getting back to it. Monday, I have a day job, and Friday, I used to be a pro, or I believe I should have been a pro.
Yeah.
Love you guys on Friday. Please don't come Monday and kick my ass. But we're starting the playoffs.
Yeah.
We seeded 3rd out of 7.
That's awesome. The only problem is that like I'm gonna be in college for like, I think I go back in August.
Where are you going?
UNF.
Oh, okay. You're up in Jacksonville. They have a rank up there.
Yeah, I know. I've looked into that too, but yeah.
Well, no black guys. Right?
I'm only missing 1.5 teeth.
1.5.
Have you lost any teeth from playing hockey?
No, it was basketball and
oh wow.
And football.
I jammed like all of my fingers playing basketball, or I've broken. It's really easy to break your fingers. Yes. It really is. Mm-hmm.
I broke this one. See right up here.
I can't look at
this basketball.
Like this one, I can't even get to like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you think you're jamming your fingers, and so you tape them up, and then eventually you look like what was the name of the guy from the Heat? the championship team.
Oh.
They called him the Mummy, and he would just hang out at the 3-point line with his hands all taped up and a jack up a three.
Take my strong hand.
But yeah, it's really easy to break fingers. But yeah, if you got some time, 2 years ago I saw him put a firefighter into the plexiglass. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, hockey's like the most fun sport I've ever played for sure.
Yeah,
like I've played like soccer and lacrosse, but hockey's definitely the best one.
Yeah, soccer. He's a big soccer fan.
Stop it.
He is what? What? You enjoy watching men touch balls with their feet? It's okay.
Football.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Football.
Football.
I love watching the replays of them going, those dives they take. Oh my God. That's a penalty in hockey.
Although I will say basketball's gotten pretty bad about that too.
Really?
Yeah.
They need to take the cue from hockey and just say it's 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can be fined by, unsportsmanlike.
I miss 90s basketball when they didn't call fouls. Or traveling. How we doing? So, we covered Star Trek. We covered the Orville. We covered as much as would be polite for Endgame. That movie just left me feeling so empty because I know that I don't want to participate any further.
Why?
You're not going to go see Spider-Man?
I'll go see Spider-Man.
I love Spider-Man. I love the new Spider-Man.
I'll go see Spider-Man, but I'm not going to go.
Tobey Maguire was too dark for me. When Blake doesn't put gel in his hair, he looks like evil Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. It's the most annoying thing.
Hey, want to go to a piano bar?
No.
I'll hit on the waitress in front of you. Maybe I'll do a little jazz number on the piano for someone else. Just that one scene of him walking down the block, snapping his fingers and pointing at chicks.
Yeah. I like the new actor.
I can't believe we got more Marvel movies after those Spider-Man movies.
Although, if James Franco can come back and be the bad guy, I'd appreciate that. I love you, James.
I was hanging out with my granddaughter the other day, yesterday, literally, and she was about Shazam. She thought it was hilarious where he was walking, your phone's charged, your phone's charged, your phone's charged. And then that guy said a bad word when his phone blew up. She
Is it worth seeing?
Yeah, it was worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing.
Is it the best DC movie?
No, but I will say that for a 6-year-old, she really enjoyed it.
What's the best DC movie? If you say, did Colleen make you see Aquaman?
No, she didn't make me. I went. It's a superhero movie. I'm there, but I probably liked the one when they brought back Superman, Justice League. I don't know.
Look at Blake's face.
I know. I liked all of them, and there was no pre-written script. It was Aquaman was being Aquaman, and Batman was being Batman, and
I couldn't even figure out what that movie was. I sat. It took me 3 tries to watch it, to watch that Justice League movie. 3 tries. I was like,
I liked it.
Well, that's okay. Nobody's perfect.
That's true.
What is this symbol on this producer extraordinaire?
Team Solomid.
It's Cyber Power.
What does that mean? Is that a computer brand?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the keyboard and mouse I gifted you.
Oh, but you didn't give me the cool mouse pad to go with it?
I
love that keyboard and mouse pad.
That's where you can tap quietly.
Dude, you should see my my keyboard and mouse pad. They all light up in these brilliant LEDs. And when you're typing, it shoots different colors out the front. So if you have a surface in front of it, it's pretty cool. I have my own light show all the time. What are you doing on your phone?
I have to leave soon.
This is a radio show. We're on the radio. No, we're not. But kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
So, Jesse, you want to close the show out by telling us about your new digs?
No.
I'm digging them. What do you
thank
mean?
you.
This place is great.
Thank you.
There's room for everybody.
First
The last time
of all, I don't have a mic. Second of all,
What? You've got one of those. Are we wrapping up? Well, thank you for tuning in to Space Cowboy Justice.
It's been great having you guys.
It was great being here, and we're going to be more consistent in the future.
Yay!
So more shows to come, and if you tuned in, thank you, and if you didn't tune in, you're a loss.
Space Cowboy Justice.
Stay tuned for the next exciting episode when Paul brings William Shatner.
And hopefully sooner than the last.
Thank you.
And thanks to our producer, Jesse, and Space Coast Podcast.